you ever had a dog before? I'm assuming that most people that are going to listen to this have a dog in their life or have had previous dogs. And if you've had previous dogs, then you probably know where I'm going with this. Do you remember the gut-wrenching feeling whenever you had to say goodbye to that, which became a member of your family? That one specific animal that in the beginning you may have not even wanted or asked for, yet somehow your wife surprised you with it, your mom and dad surprised you with it, it just stumbled into your home, or maybe you were looking for it, you found it, and it was everything that you could have ever hoped and more. And then one day, if you're lucky enough, they get old and they pass in their sleep. Every single dog that I've had in my life, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, and when I say 2 or 3, I'm talking about we've had a lot of dogs growing up in my years. And it wasn't just our dogs, it was what my grandparents had also. We considered them part of our family. We've had a lot of dogs in our life, and maybe only 2 or 3 of them went that way, went peacefully in their sleep. Most of the other ones we've ever had, they had something that came up in their life. They had some type of affliction. They couldn't hardly move. They didn't remember who they were all of a sudden. Their entire personality and everything was lost. And it was in that final week, final 2 weeks, whatever it was, the time span that, well, we had to make a decision to unfortunately put them down. And the loss and the hurt of losing those animals, of losing those dogs, losing those pets, our children, the members of our family, hurt so bad. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the hurt of losing something. And the reason why I brought up pets, dogs, animals, whatever it is that you've had in your life that's outside of your immediate family, is because we just buried our German Shepherd, our 3-legged German Shepherd Gypsy. So this is still fresh to me. And I'm always making videos and talking about motivation, how to get through life, how to deal with the things. And I knew that it was important to do this while this was so fresh. And while I have gotten better over this weekend, while I'm able to now perk my head up and start moving forward, there was at least a day or two there that was really, really rough. And I wanted to talk about grief today because I feel like a lot of you out there are dealing with grief, and maybe some of you are dealing with something that should have been let go a long time ago, and that's easier said than done. You know, I'm never going to be fully over something that I lost in my life that I love so much as I did Gypsy, our 3-legged German Shepherd. I'm never going to be fully over that. It'll get easier, and we're going to talk about that today, so stick around because we're going to have a good conversation here. So obviously you've read the title of this video. Obviously you've stumbled upon it some type of way, and maybe, you know, you're working in your house or cleaning up and somehow this video ended up on autoplay and it's just all of a sudden playing and you heard me talking and you're like, well, what's he talking about? Because maybe, just maybe, it's one of those weird coincidence things that you're going through something in your life that's pretty similar and you're like, okay, what is this? Happens to me all the time. I get it. I understand. And I wanted to talk about confronting grief and the things that I have learned along the way. First off, let me say this. I don't care if you don't believe in the same things that I believe in. I'm simply one of those people. I know what has worked for me in my life, and I hope and pray that you find peace and happiness in yours. Even at the end of this video, if you're not trying to have the same thing that I have, I hope that there's something in this video, there's something in this that you hear that you're able to take pieces of, put into your life, and it helps you in some type of way. Because that's what I'm in the business of, is trying to find ways to communicate the things that have happened in my life, and maybe in some way somebody can apply them to theirs, and it can bring them peace. That's what I'm in the business for, is to bring peace and happiness to people. Because I feel like there's so much in the world that is so easy to drag us down. There's so much in this world that can drag you down, grief being one of them, that you have to find a way to get through it. And when it comes to grief, here's what I'll tell you. I have not found a way to fight grief. I have not found a way to beat grief. I don't know why me burying my German Shepherd this past weekend was harder for me than the time I lost my brother. As hard as it is for me to say that, it is a reality, it is a truth. Now, I lost my brother at the age of 14, and I'm 30 now with my own family, and my dogs are like my kids. Yet, even back then, I remember burying my first childhood pet, Peppy, which was a dachshund, a little dachshund wiener dog that we had at the time. And I had her ever since I was 2 years old. And when I was 2, I couldn't pronounce the word Peppy, so I called her P-Pep. So everybody else in the family adopted that, and that's what her name was P-Pep, but her real name was Peppy. I still remember the whole family, because we grew up on a farm around my grandparents, my aunt, my uncle, my mom and dad, my brother. I still remember the whole family came crushing down because of how much we all loved this dog. And it might sound crazy for some people to love something like that so much, but when they're your family, when they're your kids, when they are the thing that greets you every evening after you have dealt with the entire world, been gone from home for weeks at a time, they're the first thing to run up to you and smile and want you to pet it and spend time with it. They don't argue back with you. They don't fight with you. They just have true unconditional love. It is gut-wrenching to have to one day say, I'll see you later. I don't want to see you later, but I have to. If you are lucky in this life, you've had dogs, okay? If you're lucky in this life, you've had a dog of some kind. If you're very lucky, that dog got old, and then one morning you woke up to find that they just passed away in their sleep. The best way that a dog could possibly go before they dealt with any illness or came down with anything or something happened to them that you had to make the call that you didn't want to make to have to send them on their way. And almost every dog I've ever had in my life, especially these German Shepherds, I've had 3 in my life and I've only got 1 left. I've had 2 of them. Both of them I had to do the same thing. And both of those dogs made me just... I can't remember the last time that I cried this much, ever since I lost my last German Shepherd. It's something about these dogs. And what's crazy is whenever we got Gypsy, the one we just buried, she wasn't even our dog in the first place. She was my mom and dad's dog. She was my mom and dad's dog because they wanted a German Shepherd because they knew I would be moving out and I was going to be taking my German Shepherd Kylo with me. Well, the time came when I did move and I didn't want to separate the two because they loved each other so much. So she came over to our house and we took care of her. We bathed her, we fed her, we took her to the vet. We loved her. She became a part of our family. And when I had to make the call because she had gotten so old, she had done got to the point where her back, hips, everything just didn't work no more. You're already talking about an old German Shepherd who's prone to hip dysplasia with 3 legs. They're not working with much. And it was so gut-wrenching, even before I sent her on her way, that I had to watch her go through that. And I couldn't let her do it anymore. I couldn't let her be tortured like that anymore by her own body. And so we had to make the call. And it was not great. It was hard. I cried. I had a headache that was so bad because of how much my eyes were squinting. Have you ever had that? A grief that was so hurtful and painful, you cried so much you had such a headache? Something about these dogs, man. I don't know. But here's the thing about grief that I have learned. Even though I dealt with the heartbreak, even though it was hard, I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world that I had with the memories, the fondness, the being able to bond with that dog throughout the years. I would gladly go back and relive the grief if it meant that I got to relive all of those times over again with that animal. 100%. And in thinking like that, it's almost like I had a revelation because I prayed a lot to God and I talked to God a lot about that. And I begged God. I said, God, please just let her go in her sleep. Please don't let me be the one to have to make this. I hate this. I absolutely 100% hate this. And nothing happened. And I still had to do it. And I had a revelation, and I realized that it's almost like God was telling me himself that when he created love, when he created that, there were strings that came attached to love. It's kind of one of those old things, those old sayings saying that you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can have love in your life, but there's things that come with it. Even a dog, even the thing that will love you no matter who you are, how rich or poor you are, they don't care about that. They love you unconditionally. They'll stick by your side. They'll fight to the death for you. Even that comes with a price. And so the question became, would I rather go my entire life not being loved, not loving anything, and not having to deal with heartbreak? Or would I go back and relive all of that again, but have to deal with the heartbreak again? And absolutely 100%, I will go back and I will have love in my life. I choose love. You can forget me not wanting to love or have these things in my life. I will gladly take heartbreak and go through the grief all over again. If it meant that I got to go back and spend another day with my gypsy, my Dana, my brother, my aunt, my grandfather, all of this stuff that I have lost in my life, I would gladly go back and live through that stuff again. What hurts the most is how most of what I've lost in my life, it left too soon. It was heartbreaking why they had to leave. That's the hurtful thing about it. Is none of this stuff just got old and died. Everything had to go, had to leave us too soon. And believe me, I've had some battles with faith on that in my past. But I'm telling you right now that you may be in grief, you may be hurting, but you're going to see them again one day. I know that the moment she took her last breath, she was immediately, instantly healed. And I'm going to do another video on my idea of heaven and what I believe is in heaven. I hope that you guys are all able to tune in for that. But I know that as soon as she took her last breath, she got all four of her legs back. She was up and running. She's happy now. She's in a lot better place. It just sucks on my end because I can't see her and be with her like I was just a few days ago. But I'd rather her be happy and better and me just have to miss her for a while. I'd much rather that than the state that she was in. And if you're somebody who's fixing to go through that process, let me remind you that you're doing the right thing. Even though it don't feel like it's the right thing, even though it hurts, you got to do what's best for them in the long run. You got to. And you're not wrong for wanting that. It's called love. It's called love because grief is attached to it, because your emotions are tied into it, because you're going to hurt so much. That is love. Love does not come without its strings attached. It is going to hurt you. It is going to be a rough moment in your life, but you will get through it. And if you're asking me, well, Justin, how do I get through it? You survive. You survive. You can't attack this. You cannot attack this. It never goes away. You're always going to think about it. It's always going to be a wound. You're going to do something in your life throughout your every normal day that's going to remind you of them, so that lets you know that it's still there. There's still love. There's still you and them in that connection. And that's what comes with it. So why is faith important? I believe that it's important in my life because of how much it has helped me. I don't believe in God just so I can get good things in my life. I believe in God and I follow God because I need Him when I'm going through some really rough moments in my life. And I've had plenty of them that I should be a perfectionist at it now. But I'm not. Somehow, even after losing all of these other people, these other dogs in my past, it still hurts so bad when I lost Gypsy. And I couldn't figure out like why. I should be able to do this a lot better now, but I'm still not. Why? And it's because of love. It is absolutely 100% because of love. I loved her. She loved me. She loved my wife. We had a family together. Of course I'm going to cry. Of course I'm going to miss. It comes with it. So, my beautiful friends, my wonderful family here on YouTube, I'm here today to tell you that love is a part of life, and it's a great, wonderful part of life, but it does have its things attached to it. It does carry grief. It does carry remorse. It does carry those moments where you wish you could have done better and been more because you have love. It's not the wrong thing to have. It's the best thing to have. But you are still going to have to deal with things in that. And me, with my relationship with God, has helped me get through that all throughout the years. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about church attendance. I am talking about a relationship with God. I'm talking about my love for Him, His love for me, and how He has helped me get through so much in my life. And it's something that I hope you can get for yourself. Even at the end of this video, if you don't feel the same way I do, I hope that you have peace in your life. I hope you have happiness. And I'm just here to tell you that that is what has worked for me. It's not something that I just all of a sudden randomly, mysteriously got. I had interactions in my life. I had things that just kept lining up, and it made the most sense to me. And I feel it. It's something that I can feel. It's not just something I think about. It's not just something that I heard somebody else say, and I said, ooh, that'd be a cool club to get into. It's not something I pay money for every month. It is literally something that I feel 100% in my soul. And it's something that I hope you guys get. I love you guys very much. You guys are wonderful. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about my dogs and listening to me talk about things that have died in my life and how I've tried my best to get through the things in the life, and hopefully it's something that helps you along the way. This has been your good friend Justin. Always remember that love is a wonderful thing. It's great. It's awesome. You guys are amazing. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.